Hello and welcome, fellow bookworms and film fans. Welcome to this week's episode of The Contented Narrative. We're looking at The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins. And as you can see, it's one of my lovely cloth-bound editions. Now, this has been made into a TV series, but I will not do a book-to-film adaptation on it because I could not get through the first, 10-15 minutes of the series. I turned it off. It bored me. I wasn't going to put myself through that. So I'm just doing it as a book recommendation because it's a really good book. So this book, I actually bought, my dad gave me some money and I bought it for my birthday, not this year, last year. So, you know, and I read it last year and then I thought, oh, I really need to review this for the channel because I think people would really enjoy it. It is quite an old book, but it has stood the test of time. I know with some old books, when you're reading them, the language, the phrases, the idioms, they kind of get on your nerves a little bit because you're trying to figure out what it is they're actually saying. This one's quite straightforward and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So it's essentially like a murder mystery, but it's not a murder mystery. So you meet your young hero and he's on his way to become an art teacher to these two lovely young ladies. And when he's going out there, he meets this woman in white, ironically, who basically is just like, can you help me? So he helps her, you know, and lets her go on her way. And she says, please don't tell anybody where I'm going. Then he bumps into her again at the graveyard near where he's staying once he's gone out to see these two daughters. And then he realises that she looks a lot like one of the people that he's teaching how to paint. But he falls in love with the daughter, but realises that he's a penniless person. This daughter is engaged to be married. And then it all just kind of goes from there. And there is a big jump forward in time. And one thing about this book, which sometimes does annoy me, but this one it didn't, it's told from different perspectives. So it's almost like it's compiled from everybody's perspectives of what happened. So one's from one of the sisters, one's from his diaries, one's from letters between the lawyer. And it is just done so well and it reads so well that honestly I was hooked to the last page. And it's just, because every time you're like, oh, I know what's going on. I know who this person is. Oh, I know how they fit into the story. And then you're like, oh, hang on a minute. No, I genuinely don't know who this person is. I don't know how they fit into the story. And it just honestly, I'm like, this is a really good story. When I heard that it was a TV series, like it was a mini series, I was like, great, I'm going to give that a go. You know, it was a really good book. And I was like, no, I can't. There are some other book to film adaptations like Spook's Apprentice. I'm not even going to touch that film. It was a travesty. Same with Percy Jackson as well. I'm not going to put myself through that again. But with this one, I couldn't even get into it. But it's a little bit of a hefty book. It's sort of shy of 700 pages, but I didn't feel the 700 pages. So sometimes when you're reading, you feel it, but it concludes well. It's got everything that you want in it. You know, it's not sort of like juicy kind of, oh, he sleeps with her and no, none of that. It's just a nice story of love and, you know, desire, but it doesn't go smutty. And I'm not going to say anything more about the murder mystery, but that's what kind of got me hooked when I read the blurb. And you kind of going, okay, who's going to die? Like, when are they going to die? But when it happens and when the mystery happens and when it gets solved, I promise you are going to love it. So I would recommend, if you can get it, I would actually say, if you can, buy it in the cloth-bound back edition because it is absolutely gorgeous and I love it and it fits in on my shelf. But obviously, if you want to borrow it from our local library, because libraries are perfectly great spaces where you don't have to pay to be there, and you can just be there. But if you want to buy it paperback or anything, you know, please do, and let me know in the comments if you do end up reading it. Thank you so much for your continued support. I remember to always keep it contento.